Nigeria is a country which is richly blessed, not just with natural resources, but the human talent abounds all over this country. On Executive Discourse week in, week out, what we seek to do is celebrate trailblazers, people who have set themselves apart in their chosen fields of endeavor. And today on the program, I have a distinguished gentleman with me. He is a man who has been, he's really been misunderstood in various circles. But one thing I know is that he's blazing the trail in his chosen fields of endeavor. Please join me as we welcome to Executive Discourse today, Senator Dino Melaye. Of course, he's a politician. He's a man who has seen it all, in politics and even on the business front. Hello, distinguished Senator. How are you?
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine.
Thank you.
And good day, viewers.
Maybe just for the sake of our viewers, for them to really understand who really you are, I think I'll want you to tell us who really you are, where you were born, where you spent your younger years, schools attended and all that.
Yeah, basically, my name is Dino Melaye. I'm one very simple, ordinary Nigerian from Kogi State, precisely from Aitorogbede in Ijumu local government of Kogi State. I was born in Kano, and I had my primary education in Kano, and went to Abuja Memorial College in Okene, and from there I went to Ahmadu Bello University. I was in the University of Jos. I was in the University of Abuja. I was in Bayes University. I was in Harvard University, and a couple of put together I have 9 university degrees. The last is LLB degree in law from Bayes University, and currently running a PhD program. I'm from a family of 6, where I'm the first, 5 boys and 1 girl, who is our last born. Yeah, lost my mom 2 years ago. My dad is alive and is 89. I live below the poverty line. Basically, yeah, that is the XYZ of Dino Melaye.
The XYZ, and one who lives below the poverty line, because I heard that.
Yeah, and unemployed, again, I should add that.
Okay, we will come to your being unemployed. Now, yes, I know that when you were in the university, you were an activist, so to say, because you were in the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS. And maybe not many people knew your antecedents before you came on the scene politically. Why politics?
Basically, I want to correct that. You said when I was in university, I was an activist. I believe I'm still an activist.
Okay, once an activist, always
I
one.
believe I speak for those who can speak for themselves. I believe I see myself as a voice to the voiceless. I see myself as an apostle of generational change. I describe myself as a democratic evangelist who believe in righting the wrongs of the society. Yeah, basically I said I got incarcerated a number of times during the Babangida Abacha military era, and visited different prisons across the country. I was in Gushwa, I was in Yola prison, I was in Abakaliki, I was in Kirikiri, and a host of other places like that.
So Is that why you decided to now go into politics head on?
I think I've always been in politics because I contested for my departmental president in ABU. It all started from there. I was a primary school head boy. I was a secondary school head boy. So I think it's been inherent, and I'm indoctrinated with this act of leadership and all this from kindergarten stage of my life. And I read a lot of revolutionary books early in life that revolutionized my consciousness and gave me a path in life. You know, as at age 10, 11, I already read books on Mahatma Gandhi, on Martin Luther King, on Malcolm X, on Franz Fanon, and all that. You know, and it actually helped to shape my notion, my perception towards activism and human rights.
Was that as a function of the kind of upbringing you had, or what was it for you, even at such a tender age, you know, having been able to read widely, read about, you know, opinion molders in the society like that, and then deciding to go into politics? Did it have anything to do with your upbringing?
I would just say it came natural and God-induced. My parents are devoted Christians. My mom was a deaconess in the church. My dad was an elder and evangelist. So we were brought up under strict Christian doctrines and tenets. But vying into this was just, it came natural for me, and I've not deviated from it. I just believe that we deserve a just and egalitarian society. I believe justice, equity is not negotiable. I believe that in an unjust society, silence is a crime. I believe that everyone must speak the truth, not minding whose ours is God. I believe the truth have no volume. The truth is the truth. And like I always say, if you speak the truth, you die. If you lie, you die. I've chosen to speak the truth and die. I would just say it's God-induced.
God-induced, and then you came full blast on the national scene politically, and you made your impact. Your experience in the National Assembly?
My experience in the National Assembly is a mixture of joy and sadness. Joy in the sense that I had a platform to speak for Nigerians. I had a platform to right the wrongs of the society. I had a platform to speak the truth to power. I had a platform to expose corruption. I had a platform to ameliorate and palliate our problems as a nation. That brings a lot of joy and happiness. Brought a lot of pains, because as a result of that, the powers that be, targeted me. And in 2017, I was arrested 18 times. In 2018, I was arrested 19 times. In 2019, I was arrested 28 times. In fact, in 2019, I spent 178 days out of 365 days in police detention. I was the only Nigerian arraigned on stretcher. From the ambulance to the court on stretcher. I was maltreated. As I speak, within 2018 and within 2018 and now, federal government versus Dino Melaye, we are in 12 courts.
Wow. 12
courts, federal government versus Dino Melaye. But to the glory of God, because they are fictitious cases, they are just fabricated cases, just to cow me, to shut me down, to intimidate me, and maybe to deplete my resources. I've won 11 out of 12.
Awesome. So
only one left, and where I'm being charged by the federal government for attempted suicide. And with the way I appreciate luxury, I appreciate the good things of life, I see no reason why I want to kill myself. I was always going to drive my Ferrari and Lamborghini parked outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another frivolous case, I believe God will take care of. So it came with a lot of obscurities. It came with a lot of pains. It came with a lot of intimidation and all that. At the time, this house you're in was on siege for 8 days. Light and water was cut off.
Wow.
And the number of policemen, over 150 policemen surrounded this building for 8 days. You would think they were looking for Shekau, for a man who is armless, for a man who has no gun, for a man who has done nothing but fighting for the maltreated, the malnourished, the vulnerable of the society. But for me, all the troubles I went through, it was a perilous time for me. It was times of vicissitude and vacillation, but that emboldened me, that strengthened me. And that, for me, the battle to salvage this country from economic cankerworms and financial scavengers, from genetocratic leaders, for me, it's a battle of no retreat, no surrender. You know, I'm not perturbed, I'm not intimidated, I'm not discouraged. I'm rather emboldened to continue to speak the truth to power, to continue to ask that the right thing be done. And because we have no other country to call our own but this country. When I was growing up as a child, houses had no fences even in the GRAs. You understand? In Kano, where I lived, Nasarawa, Porters, the GRAs in Kano, houses had no fences. The only place I see tall buildings as a growing-up child was either a zoo or a prison yard.
Wow.
But now the situation becomes so deteriorated that we started building fences, tall fences, not just building fences. We started using broken bottles of minerals, Coke, Fanta, Pepsi Cola as barriers on our fences. The situation deteriorated more. We started using barbed wire. Today is electric fence.
Electric fence. That's
to tell you how moral value have completely depreciated. And the only thing we can do as patriotic Nigerians is to right these wrongs. Because the Holy Book says, bring up a child in the way of the Lord. If he grows up, he will never depart from it. So we need a reorientation, a reprogramming. In fact, we need to reconsider the curriculum, educational curriculum at kindergarten stage in this country, at the elementary level in this country. Because as we speak today, no school, even at that elementary level, teach you about civic education, teach you about moral philosophy, teach you about patriotism, teach you about nationalism. You know, no school. The only thing they teach you is your social studies, which is the only social disposition, elementary disposition we have.
Yeah.
And what does your social study teach? It teaches about Jaja of Opobo, Awolowo of Western Nigeria, Azikiwe of Eastern Nigeria, Sedona of Northern Nigeria. Even at that young age, you are already indoctrinated with ethnic consciousness of I'm Yoruba, I'm Hausa, I'm Igbo. When you see an American child at age 5, it will tell you about the dream of America. When you see their footballers playing match and the national anthem of America being played, you see them crying because they've been indoctrinated and imbibed with that national rudiment, that patriotism from their kindergarten stage. The spirit of nationalism. That is what we lack in this country. Instead, we are too ethnic conscious as a people. You go to the hospital card you are going to get from a general hospital, there's a column for religion, there's a column for tribe, as if that will in any way have positive concomitant effect on your medical recovery. So we are too conscious as a people. So we need to correct, ameliorate, palliate that. Then we can now, the spirit of our motto will now manifest. Because if you see the motto of this country on the coat of arms, it is there. It is there. Peace, unity, and progress. That unity is germane. And we cannot have that unity except as a people we unite ourselves and see ourselves as one. That will lead me to why I brought a bill when I was in the National Assembly for the abolishment of state of origin. That state of origin should be replaced with state of residence. That wherever you reside is your state.
It's yours.
So we changed state of origin with state of residence.
But what happened to that bill?
Eventually, my colleagues did not see that as an important national responsibility. The bill was killed. It never saw the light of the day. But we still need to do that because so that Aminu can contest election in Ogbomoso, Kolawole can become a governor in Enugu, and Chukwudi can become a councillor in Borno. That is the only thing that can unite us as a people. If not, we are just being hypocritical. We are too ethnic conscious. We are too tribalistic. The religious sentiment is extremely high. But if you abolish today state of origin and start using state of residence, it will unite us more as a people.
As a people.
Wherever you reside becomes your state. We need to get to that level.
To that level. You also had other bills that you sponsored while you were in the National Assembly, and I know that you must have had some high points while in the National Assembly.
Yeah. One of my bills that was passed into law and signed by President Muhammadu Buhari, I'm sure he didn't know that I was one that passed the bill. He wouldn't have signed, but fortunately, that bill was passed into law, and it was one of the first bills the president, signed into law. And that is the Anti-Jungle Justice Bill that I brought up. And that bill today, initially before now, when you take an accident victim or a man with a gun wound on him to the hospital, they will ask for a police report before the doctors or nurses or medical experts will attend to such a person. And we have lost many lives as a result of this
anomaly.
Abnormality. So I brought that bill, and now it's an offense for any doctor or any hospital to reject anybody with gun wound or whatever because of police reports.
Were you the one that sponsored that
That's
bill?
my bill.
Oh,
yeah,
I thought it was Onyejocha.
No, that's my bill.
Okay.
That's my bill.
Okay.
It's called the Anti-Jungle Justice Bill. It was signed into law December 2015.
Okay.
December 2015.
Okay.
That's my bill, the Anti-Jungle Justice Bill.
But how well has it impacted the lives of the people? You and I mean, let's be factual.
We have a problem because the bill was passed into law, but not many Nigerians know about it. Many hospitals are even yet to know that there's a bill like that, because some hospitals still reject people with either gun wounds or accidents, and they ask for police reports. Because the National Orientation Agency and other enlightenment agencies of government have not, and the Ministry of Information, have not done enough in enlightenment, in campaigns, in creating awareness for these laws. That is another problem altogether. And I also recall that I also brought a bill against facial mutilation that was killed also. It didn't see the light of the day because many kids today are either abnormal or dead because you just use sharp objects that infects them without sterilization and all that, give different tribal mark to a child against his will. Because at that age, a child cannot resist it. Many grew up to regret, why was my face designed like this? So that bill also came up, but unfortunately it didn't see the light of the day, you know. And I also brought a bill to establish 6 national cardiothoracic centers in this country, because I traveled to Ghana and I found out that in Ghana, they were, at that time, they were just building their 2nd national cardiothoracic center. And the Minister of Finance of Ghana had a heart transplant in the Ghana National Cardiothoracic Center. So I was appalled that Ghana, with a population of about 20 million people, building the 2nd national cardiothoracic center, and we in Nigeria, we don't have one. So I proposed through a bill for the establishment of 6 national cardiothoracic centers in 6 geopolitical zones of this country. Because anyone with a case of respiratory failure in Nigeria, survival ratio is 0. It's 0. And if we had built those 6 national cardiothoracic centers as proposed by me 7 years ago, by now, we wouldn't have the kind of challenges we had during COVID, because it all deals with issues of respiratory failures and problems, you know. So but that was ignored. And I got agitated when I went to Ghana, the National Cardiothoracic Center in Ghana, and I found out that 34 Nigerian cardiologists are working in Ghana National Cardiothoracic Center. 34 cardiologists working in Ghana National Cardiothoracic Center. So I felt that's an abnormality. You understand? You can't talk of how many medical experts are across the globe. Yes. You know. But unfortunately, that bill also did not see the light of the day. Wow. I brought a bill also at the time to ban the use of generator. that did not see the light of the day. I brought a bill to stop political office holder from traveling abroad on medical tourism on the expense of government. If you want to travel, spend your money abroad. But every Nigerian public office holder should be banned from traveling abroad for medical tourism. That is the only way to fix our hospitals that have become mere consulting clinics today, you know. So, but that bill also definitely did not see the light of the day.
I have an axe to grind with you. Generators. How could you have? When we do not have adequate public power supply.
That is the way to stop it. The way to correct it is, if there is no generator in the villa, the president will make sure there's electricity in the villa. If there's no generator, I said generators should only be used in emergency institutions like hospitals, mortuaries. But if today a governor does not have a generator, he will think within how to generate electricity within the states. If the president, the minister, does not have a generator, they will definitely develop other means of generating electricity. And that is the way to build and tap into other sources of energy in this country. So I felt that was germane, it was draconian, it was radical,
really draconian.
It was radical, but I mean, tough times demand tough decisions. And that would have helped. Yeah. But unfortunately, I was seen as an utopian being coming from the Mars or Pluto. So.
Another thing that I know, of your time in the National Assembly, first of all, with Honorable Patricia Ete, when she was made the first female speaker. Then Senator Bukola Saraki. Now, I wonder, what is it about Senator Dino Melaye and these kind of antecedents? And it brings me also to another question. Where does your loyalty lie? Is it to the person? Is it to the office or to the ideals?
Anyway, I want to start by saying that for me, loyalty is 100%. There's no 99.9% loyalty. And loyalty is not only when things are going on smoothly. Loyalty to me means walking in when others are walking out. And loyalty to me is more idealistic and ideological than personal. Those who fought Ete at that time were fighting her because of custom, because of tradition, and because of religious belief. There were people at that time who believed that a woman cannot lead them. There are people who ignorantly thought bowing to the maize means bowing to Patricia Ete. And as men, they cannot see themselves bowing, taking a bow before a woman. And a woman presiding over them. Because they are so myopic, so porous, so parochial, so intellectually stagnant, that they believe women should always play a second fiddle role. And that informed my support and loyalty to her at that time. And I stood my ground. At the end of the day, I was the only last man standing because 174 of us left the PDP secretariat to our data house that morning. By the time we got there and they were asking for us to take votes, it was only 1.5. My hand was up, and a colleague of mine, his hand was neither up or down. He was still like this. At the end of the day, I was the only one standing with her. Till she was removed, and I drove her in my car to her house. So loyalty at that point was not to Ete as a person, was to these very educated illiterates who believe that a woman should play no role. A woman should be a subordinate. And to Bukola Saraki, he came with a revolution to ask questions. And he was being intimidated and harassed and all that. And I stood by him because I felt the National Assembly or the Senate by extension is not an appendage of the villa. It's not a department of the villa. It's, we have 3 independent arms of government, and the legislature should be independent, because the day the legislature and the executive become friends, it's like an auditor and accountant becoming friends. By design, by creation, they are not supposed to be friends. I'm not saying they should be enemies, but they are not supposed to be friends, because an auditor and an accountant cannot be friends. Once they are friends, then fraud would definitely...
One is supposed to check
fraud would take place, because our responsibility is to oversight the executive. And if you now become, if there's a romantic relationship between the man who is supposed to check and the person that is checking, then definitely, you know, it's not healthy for democracy. And that's why I stood by Bukola when they were trying to remove him, when they were trying to intimidate him, and coming up also with fictitious cases against him. So it's not about the person, it's about the ideal, the idea, and the methodology.
Senator Dino Melaye, you had quite an interesting time right there at the National Assembly. But I want to take you back to what you said earlier, that the bill that was signed into law, if Mr. President knew it was sponsored by you, he might not have signed it. What is it with Senator Dino Melaye and President Muhammadu Buhari?
For me, I have no personal relationship, a personal problem with the president, or with anybody for that matter. But I cannot close my eye to the ills of the society or the ills of any government. And for any government that abhor the truths, for any government that hates the truth, they will definitely go after those who say the truth. I think that's what happened between myself and the Buhari administration. Because for no just cause, I was arrested several times. For no just cause, I was beaten, I was molested, I was harassed. For no just cause, my mandate was taken from me through the courts. For no just cause, my election was rigged, militarized, helicopters imported and were releasing bullets from the sky. And even on the election day, my nephew was killed in my house, in my compound. And if you have a president that have conscience, if you have a president who is supposed to be the father of the nation, these things should not happen. And when they happen, they should be investigated. There was an attempt on my life 4 times. But in one of the occasions, the police arrested 6 of the assassination gang, including today a sitting local government chairman in Kogi State.
And what now happened?
I mean, the ammunitions used were recovered. Confessional statements were made. The vehicle used for the operation was recovered. And they were arraigned in courts.
So what happened?
But only for the same government to come back and release all of them. And then discontinue the case. And then release them back to the society. And the same government came back to accuse me of misinformation. And tried me for misinformation for 3 years before the FCT High Court. And eventually, I won the case. So you will understand that we are in a sick society. We are in a banana republic. We are speaking the truth to power. And that is why Nigerians have become so gullible. And that is why people are afraid to speak. They have seen those who came out to speak facing all sorts of... In fact, I particularly am an example why most Nigerians are quiet. But my encouragement to them is that you cannot keep quiet. We have no other country to call our own but this country. Nigeria is not only sick, but equally suffers from what I call a dreadful congenital abnormality. But there's a need for us to step up our game. And how do you step up your game? Is to ask relevant questions. Is to hold our leaders, including me, accountable. Is to make sure that the basic tenets of democracy Chapter 2 of the Constitution, Section 14B of the Constitution says, the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary occupation of government. We must enforce that. We must make sure government is responsible. Because the mistake we make is that those in power think that government belongs to them. But government does not belong to those in power. Government belongs to the people. Democracy will continue to be government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Never should we allow democracy to become greediocracy. Government of the greedy, by the greedy, and for the greedy. Once you allow that happen, the country becomes a banana republic, the economy will nosedive, corruption will become the order of the day, and that is the state we are in this country today. Government have instilled fear in the people. But we should not be afraid. We must all decide to either walk in the light of creative altruism or we perish in the darkness of destructive selfishness. So Nigerians must come out of their cocoon. They must speak the truth to power, not minding whose is God. Some will lose their lives, some will get incarcerated, but at the end of the day, we are making a very monumental sacrifice for generation yet unborn. So Nigerians must realize that there is a need for us to be emboldened, not to be destructive, not to be criminal-minded, not to create havoc, but to speak the truth to power and protest, agitate in the most civil and legal way or means.
Moving forward, because I know that, yes, you have so much that you want to talk about, how we can, get things right in Nigeria as a country and as a people. Now, yes, you're no longer in the National Assembly, but you're still very active on the political space. What's happening? I know that the PDP just had their national convention.
Very well.
Of course, I also know that at some point you were with the PDP, you moved to the APC, PDP. What's happening politically?
Basically, I'll be very emphatic to tell you today in this country, no political party is ideologically based.
None?
None.
Even the PDP?
Even the PDP. No political party is ideologically based. No political party is implementing his or her own manifesto. If you go to Kano, you have APC. If you go to Kaduna, you have APC. But what the Kano state government is doing is completely at variance with what the Kaduna state government is doing. If you go back to the Second Republic, there was still semblance of ideology. Because if you vote in 1979, if you vote UPN, you are sure of free education.
Wherever
if you vote NPN, you are sure of having a Shagari a housing estate somewhere. Because they all have their ideology. But today, it is not the same. Neither for the PDP or,
not the APC.
Or the APC. The only difference is that while the PDP is suffering from malaria, the APC is suffering from cancer. And in terms of changing parties are seen in Nigeria today as political vehicles for winning elections, not because of a particular ideology. And for me, I left the PDP because of what I considered some democratic inadequacies. And I went to the APC. I now realize that actually I was moving from an accident ward to ICU. And the truth is, I was happy I was in the APC because on your way to Canaan, you must pass through Egypt. So APC was my Egypt. But now I've moved to Canaan, I'm not looking back, I'm comfortable in Canaan.
Even without an ideology?
Yeah, but we'll get there. And that is why we are there, to revolutionize the party, to make sure that internal democracy is entrenched. But definitely you cannot compare the APC and the PDP. One is democratic and the other is an NGO.
You're a man who, like it or not, somehow has been misunderstood by quite a lot of persons, a lot of Nigerians. Some are of the opinion that there is more to the Dino Melaye they see than what we see out there. But speaking here with you, spending this time with you, I just see a man who is passionate about Nigeria. Where did this misconception come from?
Anyway, every revolutionary, every freedom fighter is controversial. Jesus Christ came. His own rejected him. Same with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Same for Obafemi Awolowo. Same for every progressive person on earth. Their lives always shrouded in controversy because they are trending on grounds that many are afraid to trend upon. I'm not disturbed about what people think about me. No, I don't. It doesn't get to me at all. In fact, when you abuse me, it's a vitamin to my soul. When you insult me on social media, you are only propelling me. I don't get disenchanted. So it's not peculiar to me. They told Jesus Christ, stone him, kill him. Pontius Pilate said, crucify him. Judged him with wrongdoings that he never did. Then if our Lord Jesus Christ, went through that, then who am I, Dino Melaye, not to be misconstrued? Who am I that people should not misjudge me? But people just make sure that you have a conscience. You do only those things that will promote the integrity, the conscience in you. That's all. Irrespective of what anybody thinks about it. But at the end of the day, they will all come to understand. Because the perception people have is that because you're a public officer, you should not be flamboyant.
Yes, we'll come to your flamboyance.
Because you're a public officer, you should have a dress style. There should be a particular traditional dress sense. You must not go out of a particular circle because they forgot that public office holders have blood flowing through their veins and not kerosene.
They're human beings too.
And that because of that, Nigerian public officers have become so hypocritical.
Because of the stereotype.
When they go abroad, they can wear anything they want. But once they come back to Nigeria, it's only babariga and suits. But I am not hypocritical. I don't care what you think. I'm still going to wear my destroyed jeans here in Nigeria. I'm going to wear my topless tops. It doesn't change who Dino Melaye is. Because you should be concerned about the service I'm going to render you than investigating my personal life. How I dress have no relationship, have no concomitant effects with what I have to give. The car I drive have no any concurrence with my productivity. So you don't mix the two. Today in the history of the National Assembly, I have the highest number of motions and bills. Because I wear destroyed jeans and I drive a Ferrari, did not stop me from achieving that. So instead of looking at your productivity level, they are looking at your side attractions. And they forget that everyone has got his passion.
Yes.
My passion is automobile. But are you servicing that passion with legal or illegal gotten wealth? That's the question. That's the question. I've never done government contract in my life. And I've never done business with government. But I have a God who in Philippians chapter 4 verse 19 promised me that he's going to supply all my needs. It is the sum of my needs. He said all my needs according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. And there's no network failure between me and God. Once I dial his number, he picks my call.
Wow.
He picks my call. And I always ask him for direction. He gives me ideas that metamorphose into money.
And I'm sure that part of the ideas he gave you was an information that was, I think, released by the BBC in the year 2020 about you owning a franchise.
Yeah, that's just one.
Yes, because you see,
that's just one of my.
A lot of people believe that you made money from politics.
No, I mean, there's no money. I've never been investigated by EFCC or ICPC. I've never been invited, sir.
Yeah, I've always wondered.
I've never been invited by ICPC. I'm one of the most investigated Nigerians. The only thing they're yet to find out about me is perhaps where my placenta was buried. And the only woman that can tell them my mom is dead. Understand? So, I've never been investigated by them because you think I can fight government if I have skeletons in my cupboard? I can be vociferous and speak the way I speak against president, against anyone in this country if I have any corruption or corruption tendencies around me? I can't. Apart from Dino Melaye, no Nigerian politician will buy a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and a Rolls Royce and put his name on the plate number. I challenge them. If you do it in the morning, you'll be invited in the evening. But I will do it and go home and sleep. Because I know whatever I have today is to the glory of God. It's not proceed of corruption. And I boast to say so. So those who want to make money should come and take rehearsals. Understand? Come and take lessons on how to make legitimate wealth from God without sweating. Because God is the authentic giver of legitimate wealth. And all you need is not to be laborious. It's just one idea. Just one idea from God. Or one idea endorsed by God will catapult you to your permanent sites.
Okay, for those who need lessons on how to acquire legitimate wealth, they can come to take rehearsals. I have been speaking with the distinguished Senator Dino Melaye. He is a man of many parts. I mean, my ribs are practically cracking here listening to this man. But I think I want us to take a break on the conversation thus far because it's important that we get to meet a few individuals who have worked with this man, a few individuals who know this man through and through. Perhaps we just might get to meet one or two members of, his family or somebody who grew up with him. Let's take this break. Executive Discourse continues right in a bit.
I'd say he's a bold person that says what is on his mind every time, and a disciplinarian. Always does what he believes is right and everything. He's happy. He's always happy, and he's charismatic, eccentric. So he's very kind, I'd say. So what he says is what we see too. He's driven by a hope for a better Nigeria, for a better place for children to grow up in, for a better place for Nigerians to live in. So that's what he wants to accomplish. He's an eccentric man that loves God. So he's always praising God and listening to Yoruba music about God.
For Senator Dino Melaye is someone that I've come to respect over the years because he is very true to himself. Now, most of the problem that we have anywhere across the globe is that people are not as honest and true to themselves. Because if you're true to yourself, then you can be truthful to other people and honest. So he's a very outspoken, truthful person. He says what it is, says it the way it is. He's not scared of any situation or whatever is that is forthcoming. He speaks the truth, and that's one of the things he has inspired me for so many years. My relationship with him has been very, very, very open. We have serious discussions and honest discussions, even at a point where I don't want to hear certain things he tells me. But one thing I can tell you about Senator Dino Melaye is that he is very truthful. He believes in what he believes in. He believes in the right of all human beings, regardless where you're from, whether you're Muslim, Christian, North, South, East, West. He says it the way it is. He's very outspoken, and he's very fearless. And as I said, he says it the way it is.
Senator Dino Melaye is a friend and a brother. I would like to describe him as a very courageous person who knows what he wants and he goes for it. Such a person is a man of substance. While we're in National Assembly, Senator Dino Melaye, the record said there, every one of us know the role he has played. He did a whole lot, and I'm sure he started this from the House of Reps before he went to the Senate. Come to think of it, while we're in the House together, there are certain motions that he moved. People applauded him. Take example for the runway at the airport, which they came up with one kind of ridiculous amount of money. But Senator Dino Melaye went out there to ask, took his time, went to the road contractors and asked how much is per kilometers. And which he did, and he came out, and then Julius Berger had to come back again, and then they reviewed it, and then they took out the cost they brought to the house. So those are some of the things he did that at least every Nigerian applauded him for that.
Glad to know you're still with us. The program is Executive Discuss on the network service of the NTA. Now, having met a few people who know Senator Dino Melaye, my guest on the show today through and through, it's time for us to continue with this conversation. Now, before we went on that break, and even off camera, we were talking about how you haven't been invited by the EFCC, which I've always wondered. You are involved in several other businesses. Would you like for Nigerians to know about such, apart from what maybe someone like me knows about, the franchise?
Anyway, you see, I'm into real estate. I'm big in real estate, both in Nigeria, in the US, and in Dubai. Very big. And I do a lot of consultancy outside this country, not even within this country. I trade in Eurobond. And that is very lucrative because what I have in Eurobond 12 years ago, when Euro was 100 and something, that value is still there. And today, you know what Euro is.
Yes.
Apart from the interests
that accrues.
So all I'm just telling you, it's...
yes, you indeed have taken lessons.
You need an idea. Just an idea.
And just fly with it.
Just one idea.
And I guess that's why you sing a lot.
I appreciate him a lot because the only food consumed by God is praise. And when you praise him, he's happy. He's excited. And I love praising him. And I will never stop praising him. Okay.
Maybe I would have asked for you to praise God for our viewers to see you.
Yeah, I praise him every day, every time.
Yeah, so
even as I'm here, I'm appreciating him as the supreme control of the universe, as my God and my King.
You sing a lot. Can you just do a little song for us? Praising God, yes. Because you sing, I mean, I see you singing. You even go on your knees sometimes, to thank God. So why don't you just do a brief one for us? Let's see Dino Melaye appreciating his God.
Okay. There's one song I did not too long ago. It talks about praising God, and it talks about the oxygen we breathe in. It says, Mo dúpẹ́ o Jésù fún afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń mí. Tí mo bá fẹ́ sanwó, afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń mí, èló ni mo rò pé Dangote lè san. Kò sólówó kan o tó lè sanwó ẹ̀mí o. Mo dúpẹ́ o Jésù fún afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń mí. Fún afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń mí, èló ni mo rò pé Dangote lè san. Kò sólówó kan o tó lè sanwó ẹ̀mí o. Mo dúpẹ́ o Jésù fún afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń mí. Ọlọ́run bá ń gbó fún afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń mí. Èló ni mo rò pé Dangote lè san. Kò sólówó kan o tó lè sanwó ẹ̀mí o. Mo dúpẹ́ o Jésù fún afẹ́fẹ́ tí mò ń mí.
That's a deep one. That's a deep one, I must say. And thank you for doing that for
No,
our
fine.
viewers
Okay.
to see.
That's all right.
As we begin to round off this discussion, Senator Dino Melaye, you're a flamboyant man.
Am I?
Yes, you are. I mean, at every point in this discussion, you've spoken about your Ferrari, your Lamborghini. What is it about your love for cars and your love for passion?
Like I said, everyone has got his way, he's got his style. And I'm a Yoruba boy. There's a popular Yoruba adage. It's only it's only what a bird eats on ground that is going to fly with.
Exactly.
Whatever is left here is not his again. So, and I believe this life, we've come to live it once. I told my kids, you guys, I'm going to give you the best of education. But I'm not going to save any money because of any child. I'm going to rock all I've got.
Wow.
I'm going to wear the best, live the best, ride the best, enjoy my life to the fullest. If you remain, make una thank God. But I will give you the best education. Today, my dad is a wonderful man. He did everything, sold his car to send me to school. But today, if my dad dies, anything I'm going to inherit from him is what I gave him. To the glory of God. So my kids should not expect that that is going to leave some money for them. If I have enough, majority of it will go to charity, even before I die. So let them begin to learn
to work
and earn theirs.
All right, just like I said as we begin to round off this discussion, Senator Dino Melaye, like it or not, I mean, people have misunderstood you, but you're still going strong as you are with your faith.
It's their right to misunderstand me. And I don't fault it.
How do we begin to forge ahead as a people, as individuals, and collectively?
I think the first thing I want to tell Nigerians is we must, as a people, love ourselves. We must, the injunction either in the Quran or in the Bible is love thy neighbor as thyself. Nigerians, we don't love ourselves. We need to love ourselves. 2, this I don't care attitude is the reason we are where we are. So Nigerians must begin to participate in democratic processes. Because if you don't choose a good leader, they will choose a bad one for you. And Nigerians must know that collectively together, we are stronger than government. So I think Nigerians must please be part of policy formulation and policy implementation. And then the fight against corruption. Because corruption for me is the bane of our development as a nation. If we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us as a nation. Above that, all parents bring up a child in the way of the Lord. When it grows up, will not depart from it.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Dino Melaye, for spending this time with us.
Pleasure is always mine.
Thank you. Indeed, you must train your child the way he should go, because when he grows, he will not depart from it. We must remain one indivisible entity. We must ask questions. We must speak to the consciousness of the powers that be, so that we will only get the change that we truly desire. That's what I'm taking away from this program today on Executive Discourse, which has come to you on the network service of the NTA. I've had quite an interesting time with this very interesting man talking about Senator Dino Melaye. Let's do this again, same time next week on the network service of the NTA. I remain Ololade Adeniji Adele. Remember, Executive Discourse only celebrates trailblazers. Join us again. Bye-bye.